And we're back, ladies and gentlemen, on Good Morning Kuwait. You know, for our next guest, we're going to be talking all about artificial intelligence, which is a very important topic to me personally. You know, as artificial intelligence reshapes the world of programming, the question is no longer just how we code, but what it truly means to be a programmer. Today, joining us is a very distinguished expert with deep experience in both training developers and guiding companies through technological change. And this following conversation will explore the evolving role of programmers, the biggest misconceptions about learning to code in the age of AI, and also where true innovation lies today. We'll also examine the future of cybersecurity, the mindset needed to succeed in tech, and the skills that will define the next generation in an AI-driven world. With that being said, we are pleased to have with us today Engineer Nasser Alostath, computer engineer and professional trainer of building AI. What a lovely introduction, but it's lovely as well having you here. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning, sir, and thank you very much for having me.
Well, thank you for taking the time out of your day to join us. You know, like I mentioned, the topic of AI is fast. You know, it's rapidly evolving, it's rapidly developing, it's overwhelming in all places now. But with that being said, it also has a lot of topics. So I do want to ask you, you know, a lot of people say now AI is taking over a lot of roles, a lot of jobs, a lot of everything, including programmers. But that is a big misconception. So where does the programmer role lie in the world of AI now?
First of all, this misconception is getting bigger and bigger, so it's important for us to clarify it. It is now, if you are a specialist or a programmer, you're going to use AI coding agent as an assistant to, first of all, for quality assurance and to get the job faster. So when you are a specialist, you will know how to guide or supervise your AI agent to have the final product at the same time fast. So basically what you're trying to do here as a programmer or as a specialist is to know what kind of surgical or micro adjustment to do when you have a bigger project instead of going through the whole thing again. Yeah. So this will save you money and time as well, also efficiency. So this combo of skills is the gold standard for all the markets right now.
And you know, speaking about the market itself, you've also been in the market teaching both students and companies alike, mashallah. So I do want to ask you, you know, from experiencing a lot of the equation from both amateurs and experienced industrial level, student level, what is some dangerous misconceptions people have about AI in terms of programming itself?
In this case, many people, they think that AI is like magic. All we have to do is to talk to it broadly and it'll do the whole thing for you. Not very true, because the better you talk and you guide AI, the better results that you get. It's like, you know, in computer engineering and in computer science, there's a term saying garbage in and garbage out. Yeah. Good input in, good output out. So it's the same thing. When the manufacturers of AIs and large language models are there, they have trained it to accept natural languages, but not in a way that it works like magic. But the more that you are specialized, the more specific that you are trying to give your instructions and prompts to the AI, the more specific and better results that you'll get. So yes, entrepreneurs and students, they will build successful products and successful even projects. But the question is, for how long they will keep succeeding? Yeah. Because in a way or another, they will face a wall that they will feel that it is hard for them, as it has for them to improve or adding some specifically, niched feature to their project. So there's always has to be a specialist who knows what they're doing and knows what kind of prompts and what kind of instructions to guide the AI in which direction.
It is, yeah, basically it is a tool, and it depends on how you as an individual are going to use that tool. Because a lot of times I get into debates with my friends who are anti-AI. They're like this and that, but then I always bring forth one example about innovation specifically, where there's a yearly event that is hosted where they give just a simple phrase like, the world in 100 years, just that phrase. And then they send it to 1,000 visual artists. And then the 1,000 of them are making their own take on that specific phrase. And then this goes back to, the thing about AI is that you can have the prompt, but your innovation comes from how you use that prompt, how you define that prompt, how you take that prompt and include it into your work, your product, your everything. So I guess my question is, where does innovation come in the role of AI?
Well, innovation comes in both parties. We're talking about the manufacturers and the users themselves, because let's go back a couple of years from now. All what he had is a chatting machine, text in and text out. And now we're in the era of agents. Agents is basically having the large language model as the brain, while giving it arms and legs and eyes through tools. These are what agents are. And now agents themselves, they're evolving either by us users, by learning from us and how to interact with them, and they, under the hood, they keep learning and keep evolving so that they suit themselves to the users and how they interact with them, as well as the manufacturers. They are training them on more, let's say, complex data, so that they can take and pick up the patterns and see how they become more like human, if we can say. They think sometimes they can. Sometimes when you are chatting with a simple chatting machine nowadays, you can feel that they have some kind of a compassion, right? So this itself is innovation, and we don't know now if let's say last year was prompt engineering, now is agent orchestration. What next is coming is something big that we have to experience it ourselves to know it.
Yeah.
So when measuring innovation is something big that we cannot catch until now. That's the exciting part of it.
It is, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, Sam Altman said, AI is not limited only by budget, because the technology itself, it's self-learning, right? It learns from itself.
Yes.
If there weren't any monetary constraint, we could see rapid innovation within the technology. But also speaking about this technology itself, it's also being implemented in the security side of things. And I think for a lot of people, they're afraid about their privacies or their exposure to the out world. But I also always bring out this one specific example. A few years ago, I was studying the United States, and there they have something called Amber Alerts. So whenever a child gets kidnapped, all phones like within the area get sent immediately, like instructions about the car, the abductor look, how they look like, the child, what they look like, what they're wearing, what they're not wearing. So in terms of security in that one, in those cases, if it weren't for AI, seeing the faces, seeing through the database, collecting, you wouldn't get those, instructions, you wouldn't get those helpful notes so you can spot those actual crimes. So in my opinion, when it comes to security, AI within good implementation is a very beneficial thing. But speaking of which, where do you see AI, in the world of security? Is it a good thing, a bad thing, in the middle?
Well, it is a double-edged knife, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, just a few days back, Anthropic just released only for big companies, their best model, which is called Mythos, and which they were trying it in a very, let's say, complex or let's say closed area or a sandbox, and they asked the model to escape, and it did. It found its ways out. So it is dangerous, but you can use it. You can put it in a better use. They started to give it for free for big security companies and big industry companies, so that they, patch their systems, find over 20 years old, let's say, exploit points in their system or something like that. But at the same time, at the age of the open source models that are available for free, hackers can use those or even jailbreak the paid ones. And there are many incidents that happen even with Anthropic itself. Hackers, they were succeeded to jailbreak LLMs to hack other systems. So now imagine this. A couple of years back, I talked about hackers using AI to hack, But now we're talking about hackers who are building agents on their own, and those agents are spreading on their own through systems. And each of these hacking agents have brains of their own. So imagine what kind of adaptability they will have, what kind of skills they can develop on the go, and what kind of threat that you can imagine, and they can imagine and measure. It is hard. So let's say if we can go like 20, 25 years back, we're transferring data through megabytes. Now we're talking about gigabytes in a few minutes. Few years now, for a few years, if it's not now already, we can transfer, sending and receiving tens of gigabytes per minute. So imagine this: when your agent has a large language model on its own, bundled with it, that can spread itself through the internet, and does that collateral damage that you cannot recover. So that's from the hacker side. So it is a double-edged weapon. And also we need as companies, trainers and specialists to adapt and to evolve faster than before, to know how to contain this kind of upcoming threats. So it is a double-edged weapon.
It is. And I think that's why I believe in the Congress of the United States, they are discussing AI. They also have a lot of regulations for AI, specifically the misuse of AI when it comes to, fabricating videos and stuff. So we are seeing a trend towards regulation of AI because, like I said, it's a very double-edged sword.
Yes.
And I also hate to bring the example of fiction, but, a lot of people know the movie The Matrix, right?
Yes.
So there was another movie that they made called The Animatrix.
Yep.
And the reason I bring that one is because it discusses how basically we got the world of The Matrix, but the ideas that they present in The Animatrix is basically the world we're living right now.
Everything started with an imagination.
Yeah.
Everything that we have imagined, let's say, when we were kids, few years ago, or even few weeks ago, is becoming reality now.
Right.
So, already, the sky is not even the limit to think of.
It is.
Yes.
And this reminds me, I forgot honestly who said that, but it was one of the scientists. He said that don't, miscredit movies, because a lot of us grew up watching these movies and then we became scientists to make the science that we saw in the movies.
Very true, yes.
So I think, that's a very funny anecdote about AI, and especially if you're looking the Matrix. But enough of that rant. You have been in programming for a lot of years, through all of your experience that you have now. If you were to start again, like how would you approach programming with the knowledge that you have currently?
Well, now, first of all, you have to learn programming traditionally. You have to get the old school skills. And you have to learn how to use AI in tandem with what you have. Because the more, as I said, the better planner you are, the more specific you are, the easier the build, the better the product. We're talking about, in any field, we're talking about, let's say, high-end website. We're talking about a cybersecurity, let's say, patching system or something like that. So I'm doing it right now, actually, teaching my students how to, first of all, you need to know how to code by hand, and then gradually something has to, the skill of using AI as a co-pilot or as an assistant comes gradually, because you will know how to then, as a student, you will know how to guide your AI faster, easier, more efficient, and you will never get into the pitfall of over-engineering your project.
Yeah.
So this is how this is how I'm doing it right now.
And hopefully, all of the students who are specifically watching are in good hands, which is going to lead me to my next question. And also, because we are running a little bit out of time, is going to be the last question. But I will give you the platform to, I think, address the concerns or fears that a lot of people have in going into programming with the usage of AI. What do you have to tell them to make them feel comfort, right? Make them feel happy about it?
Always have fun with it.
Yeah.
Especially when you're learning something, from any field of knowledge. You have to put it in your mind and in your heart. If you don't like it, you'll never learn it. But fear is just like air. Yeah. You don't have to fear of it. If you are just walking or standing against, let's say, cold air, it will never hurt you. But freeing from it will get you sick at the first time. You're getting sick mentally before you get cold itself. So have fun with it. There are many resources that you can start it for free, to learn it for free. Start with something small and keep building on it. The skill, the few skills that all the few skills that you need. You don't. I mean, if you are, let's say that you're not tech savvy. You're the ultimate programming language in this case is your natural language, and the ultimate skill that you need in this case is how to be a good manager for the resources and the guidance of AI.
Yeah.
So basically, the better planner, the better manager, the better resource management that you can do, you're going to be successful. That's the start. So basically, it's managerial and guidance, and let's say guidance skills more than programming itself. But still, if you know, the more you know, the better you get. So if you know how to build stuff and how things are working from the inside, of course you're going to have an upper hand.
It is, and I think this way it opens the door for a lot of people who have creative minds but not the technological skills before. Like before, if you wanted to make something, you got to learn how to code, you got to learn how to make them animated, you got to learn a lot of things. But now it's all within your own creativity. And I love how you wrapped everything about the same by have fun, because they say if you're doing something you love, you're not going to work a day in your life. With that being said, I do want to thank you for joining us today, taking the time out of your day for talking to us all about AI, its benefit, and how we can use it. So thank you again.
Thank you very much for having me. I really appreciate it. It was a good talk.
Thank you. Appreciate it. It was a good talk as well. With that being said, we also want to thank you, dear viewers, for tuning in. We're going to take a break where we're going to listen to a song, and after the break.